Joining us now for reaction in Raleigh, North Carolina, is Saul Weisenberg, who was the #2 attorney on the Bill Clinton Whitewater investigation, and in Washington, Democratic strategist Richard Goodstein. All right, Saul, let's start with you. I had fairly harsh words tonight after we learned more about Jeannie Rhee and her association, her past association with Ben Rhodes, the personal attorney for Rhodes, representing him in the contacts with the House Intel Committee. Obviously, Andrew Weissman, Peter Strzok. The list seems to go on and on. Every day we learn more. What's your take?
Well, I don't believe Mueller should resign. I don't think there's a case for him resigning yet, but I'm very concerned about the Strzok situation. He never should have been picked to be the FBI lead agent on that investigation because, number one, as you pointed out, there's a conflict of interest since he was the lead agent working on the Hillary email investigation. And don't forget this, he's a witness now too, Laura. There is an IG's investigation of the Hillary email server investigation, and there are congressional investigations.
Yeah, but Saul, I got to jump in. Saul, I got to jump in here. Yeah. Mueller is supposed to be, and we're going to play this montage in a moment for Richard as well. He used to be this guy of unassailable character. Oh, he's the best of the best to do this investigation. We have 3 rank partisans working on this investigation: Rhee, Weissman, and Strzok. It's not that they're just Democrats. That's fine. But they were actively working for political opponents of President Trump. And apparently there's no issue with Mueller to actually reveal this to the public. We have to find it out through our reporting on Capitol Hill.
How do you know that Strzok was working for his opponents? I've got a real problem with Strzok being on the case because of conflicts of interest. I have a real problem. I just heard the stuff today about Ms. Rhee, and I'm blown away by that. And I think that's very disturbing.
Well,
and I don't think she should have been
email,
hired.
except because Strzok was sending texts to his, I guess, mistress back during the debates, who also worked on the investigation, we understand.
But that was really dumb.
Right, but
that was
Saul,
really dumb. But you know, and I know.
Yeah.
Good. Sorry. Go ahead.
Now, let me just say.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. This is not a run-of-the-mill investigation. Richard, I want you to get on this. It's not the run-of-the-mill allegation. Don't be exasperated, Richard. You get plenty of time. I've known you forever. I never shortchange you. This has to be an unassailable team. This could not be a team of political adversaries of the president. That doesn't sit well with people, and it casts doubt on the integrity of this investigation, the appearance of a political conflict of interest. Richard, your response.
Yeah. This is not James Carville running this investigation. Bob Mueller was picked by Reagan, Bush 1, and Bush 2 for very important federal law enforcement positions, right? Andrew Weissman took on the Genovese, Gambino, and Camino families and the Enron prosecution. This is the kind of guy we want. And incidentally, if you and people watching here think that Donald Trump did nothing wrong, this is exactly the kind of team headed by Mueller that you should want to stay there. And as far as this Jeannie Rhee, incidentally, I worked at Wilmer Cutler some time ago. I happen not to know them. I left before they were there. Look, if we're going to somehow impute to every lawyer what their client may or may not have did, look, again, Ben Rhodes could be interviewed by the House. Look, unless every lawyer, Laura, hired by Mueller worked for the Federalist Society, I doubt you'd be happy. I doubt it.
That's not what we're talking about. Saul, you can jump in here. You can jump in.
It's not different. Look, listen, one second, Saul. One second, Saul.
The Jeannie Rhee thing is fundamentally different.
Saul, listen.
Pardon?
Neil Gorsuch made contributions to the Republican National Committee, made contributions to Republican candidates. So this notion that somehow political contributions...
I don't care about
Guys, one at a time. It's not going to work. One at a time. It's not going to work.
Okay,
here's what, one at a time. This is how it would go down if the shoe were on the other foot. If we had a fact pattern involving a Democrat being investigated, like Hillary Clinton on the email server, with a Republican with these types of text messages and representations, the left would be raising holy hell about it.
Laura.
And I would say maybe for good reason, because
Laura.
You cannot have a big special prosecution, as we're seeing right now, with a gaggle of partisans who are adversaries working, whether for the Clinton Foundation, working for Ben Rhodes, working for all these different people.
Laura.
So go ahead.
He was removed immediately as soon
What
as those
about
texts
Weissman?
came
What
out.
about Reed? They're both working for the investigation.
Listen,
You haven't made a case for Weissman. You haven't made a case for Weissman being unqualified or having a conflict of interest because of one text he wrote.
You want me to lay it out for you?
But the Reed thing is significant. The Reed thing is extremely significant, and Mueller should have known better, and he should have known better not to have this guy head of the investigation. But I got a message for all the Democrats.
Listen to me.
Don't filibuster. For all the Democrats,
I've got news for you,
like your other guests. Hold on.
Listen to me.
No. I got a message for all the Democrats.
I'm not a potted plant.
I have a message
Guys,
for
let
all
Richard
the
get in.
Democrats.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
By 2-1, the American public thinks Donald Trump is dishonest, is reckless, and not stable. So if there happens to be somebody who works for Mueller who shares the view that Donald Trump's not a peachy guy, guess what? He's like 2/3 of the public. And it's rich. It's rich.
I don't have a problem with that.
One second. It is rich.
I don't have a problem with that.
It is rich, Saul. Listen to me. It is rich when James Comey broke the rules to have his July 5th press conference attacking Hillary.
Which is
broke
an idiotic
the rules
press conference.
by issuing the October 28th letter and did nothing to inform the American
Strzok
public
changed the language.
about the Russians helping Trump.
Okay, I got one more point into Saul here. One more point, because we're running way over. Saul, here's the problem.
Well, that's a non-issue. My point is the Clinton people.
Guys.
Wait a second. I thought it was my turn.
Yeah, let me solve.
Go ahead. The people on the left in the media who are complaining that Mueller is being unfairly attacked should look in the mirror, because you mentioned James Carville. He set the playbook. He said, and I quote, Ken Starr is one mistake away from having his kneecaps busted. And that was a man who was regularly invited to the White House. So I don't like all this stuff that's happening to Mueller. I don't think Mueller should resign. But they're taking the Clinton playbook.
Yeah, the war room.
And let me tell you, it's coming back to bite them.
All right, guys. There's a lot more to say on this, but unfortunately, we're way over. Thank you both for joining us, Richard and Saul.